everybody, welcome back to another video, the T on NPD and relationships. Hello everyone, to all of my new subscribers and new followers. Hello everybody, welcome to my tribe and family at large. Welcome back. Thank you all so much for coming back and watching another video. Of course, you know I always like to mention our Thursday night live streams. We go live every Thursday night, okay, right here on the channel unless otherwise specified, okay? And Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we go live right here on the channel, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'd love to see you here and invite a few folks to come on out with you. And jump in the chat. Let me say hello to you. All right. And of course, every time we drop a video on the channel, the goal of the day is 1.2K plus. All right. If you rocks with your girl, hit that like button for me. All right. All right, y'all. So let's jump into the topic of this video. Woo. Let's talk about it. I've been asked this question. Why can't a narcissist, why can't they just admit it? You know, why can't they admit abusing you? You know, why can't they just admit the fact that they made some mistakes and that, you know, that they were the problem? And it wasn't necessarily you. Did you have something to do with some of what happened? Absolutely, because we all do. You know, it takes two to tango. You know, you can't, a narcissist doesn't do it all by themselves, as they can only do what you allow them to do. But I want to jump into this because I want to help you understand something. Because a lot of times what happens is that in the, you know, after the discard happens, you know, and those ruminating thoughts come, and, you know, you start thinking, why couldn't they just admit? Why couldn't they just admit to doing the things that they did to me? They know they lied to me. They know they cheated on me. They know they gaslighted me. They know they did, you know, they know they projected, you know, all of their bad behavior and everything else. They projected it onto me, you know, lying, saying that I did these things when they actually did it. And then on top of all of that, they have the immediate gall to turn around and do a smear campaign and try to assassinate your character. Let me just say this. I need to help you all understand. And if I have said it maybe, I guess, maybe 20 times, this thing is spiritual. But from the natural aspect, when you're going through all of this with a narcissist, and, you know, basically what they're doing is, for one thing, they're punishing you. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why they're punishing you. That's one of the reasons why they won't admit it. Number two, they can't because, you know, their spiritual backdrop will not allow them to admit it. You understand what I'm saying? And number three, what would somebody say if they were caught, you know, all of the lies that they told on you in the smear campaign? What would that make them look like if they really turned around and said, oh, I started doing all of these things? You know, I did do all of these things to this person. I did do this. And you know, people would think that they were a horrible person. But let's go back to the first reason, you know, of them punishing you. When a narcissist basically acquires a new supply, and especially for those of you that were probably grade A supply, the narcissist has in their mind that they idealize you. Okay. So in other words, they idolize you because at that point, you're a new person. You know, this is why you heard all of the people in their family and friends circle saying, oh, they're so happy. You know, I've never seen them, excuse me, behave this way. I mean, they're just like, I'm so happy for you guys. Well, then, you know, a little bit later on in the love bomb or whatever, you start to kind of show that, hey, I got some boundaries. This is everything that you're saying and doing to me is not okay. And so you start, you throw the N word out. Okay. The no. All right. You throw that no bomb out there. Once you do that, what you have essentially done is you have essentially said to that narcissist, I am not the perfect supply. I'm not that person that is going to just be your doormat. I'm not that person that's just going to allow you to do whatever it is you want to me. At that point, they're already looking for a new supply. And it could have been something that just happened really simple. And you're like, no, I don't want that type of ice cream. Or no, I don't want to go here to eat. I like to, oh, no. At that point, that's when you see things start to shift. Okay. And so part of them not admitting, the abuse and how they abused you is because you got to be punished. Watch this, for not being that perfect supply. You have to be punished for that. In their mind, you actually lied to them. You tricked them. You bamboozled them because you made it out to be like you were going to be with them forever. You were going to love them forever. You were going to do all of this, and y'all only 2 weeks in. Cause the narcissist is mirroring you. You're giving your all to the narcissist. You know what I'm saying? And so when you actually do something like that and you tell them no, you got to get punished for that because you have destroyed their idea of who you were supposed to be in their minds. You've just destroyed that. And so by you destroying that, you have to pay for that. Okay. And so at that point, that's one of the huge reasons why they go so heavy into the devaluation stage. And they feel like at that point you deserve, because at that point, if you started to kind of put up a boundary or whatever, at that point, you feel like you all are going somewhere. You feel like this is a person that you're probably going to be with forever. So you are, in your mind, you're not afraid to have an argument with them or afraid to have a disagreement with them, because in a normal world, disagreement is healthy for healthy people. It's okay to disagree. It just shows the fact that, you all grow through different things, and that's healthy for normal people. However, when you're dealing with a toxic, abnormal individual, they don't see it that way. And so they see that you deserve this. You deserve everything that I'm giving to you because you just destroyed my thought of a perfect person in my life. And now here you go. You let me down just because you said no to something simple and petty. Okay, something simple and petty. And then, when you look at it like that, and then, when you start to think about it and you start to ruminate, think back on on the petty things that the narcissist did, and all of those different things. Because if you would think about that sometimes, you would think that, okay, this person was petty, clearly childish, and everything else. Most 3-year-olds are not going to come and admit to abusing you either. They're not going to come and admit to, oh, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have done that to you. No, they're 3 years old. They have no clue what they're actually doing. You could tell them it's not nice. You could tell them to apologize, but they still really have no concept of why. Because they're 3 years old. Well, a narcissist they pretty much have that same childish-like mentality. So once you've ruined their vision of you, they feel like you deserve it. So they're not apologizing for, they're not going to apologize. They're not going to admit to abusing you. You basically made them do it. That's the biggest reason right there. Is I don't care how much how much you all have gone through, how much, you have sat down and they've come back 2 or 3 times and, they gave you this half-hearted apology. The biggest reason that I found is that the narcissist will say to you, why do I have to take blame? I never abused you. I never did any of that to you. And then when you say, but you did this and you lied to me, you cheated on me, me, well, I only cheated on you because you weren't doing what I asked you to do in the bedroom. Or they'll just lie and say they never cheated on you. Well, you gaslighted me. You told me that that I took the money out of the bank account when you know you took the money out. Well, that's your opinion. I don't need, or they'll hit you with this lie. I don't know what you're talking about. They'll hit you with that one. You understand what I'm saying? So when you are dealing with a person like this, I'm just trying to show you how dysfunctional they are and all of the different reasons that they come up with as to why you deserve the abuse. Now, this piece right here, this spiritual piece, the entities that reside inside of them will not allow them to recognize what they're doing to you at that moment as abuse. Now, later on, do they think about what they did? Yeah, it goes through their minds. They think about it, but not to the degree of to the place that they're going to come and say to you, I did you, I didn't treat you right. I did this to you. I did that to you. They're not going to come and say that. Because the entity that resides inside of them has changed their conscience to turn them off. Their empathy switch is off. Okay, it's off. They have zero emotional empathy, which is authentic empathy. They have zero emotional empathy. I'm telling you, these backwards walking giraffes are just backwards. Or as they say back in the South, they're just backwards. Where I'm from, honey. Hey, they said they're just backwards. They just backwards. Okay? This is what you're dealing with. But that entity is not going to allow them to see that as abuse, because if that entity allowed them to see what they were doing as abuse, then that means at some point the narcissist would have remorse, which would mean that entity would be exposed. Because remember, a demon's number one thing to do is to operate in your life incognito. To operate in your life, have you doing all type of despicable things and everything else, and you don't recognize that it's a spirit behind it. You still fighting the behaviors instead of going into the realm of the spirit and fighting it through prayer and getting deliverance. You understand what I'm saying? So this is why. This is why they will never admit to abusing you. They feel like you deserve it. They feel like you made them do it to them. That spiritual entity that rocks that narcissist and does all of that in the background, they're not going to allow the narcissist to say, oh, I messed up and I did this. No. So a lot of people get caught up staying right there in the middle of that cesspool, because you're waiting for the narcissist to just admit it. This is why you have to just let it go. You have to just cut your losses and you got to keep it moving, because they are not capable of coming to the table like an adult and seriously having a critical conversation about their behavior. They're not capable of doing that. So if they're not capable of doing that, they're also not capable of taking ownership of the things that they have done to you. They can never take ownership. They can never admit to abusing you, because if they did, then they got to go explain that smear campaign to the friends and family, to that clan of crows over there that's just like them. Are you serious? A narcissist's reputation is everything, although they have zero caliber and zero integrity. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Even though they have zero in both of those areas, they're not going to go back and say anything, because if that were to get out to the family and friends of the narcissist, it would destroy their character. They rather your character be destroyed and assassinated than theirs. Because at the end of the day, they've worked hard to build that lie that they live every day. And they're not going to let you or anyone else destroy it, because they work tirelessly to the point of getting no sleep most nights to keep up that fake persona. So if they have to do that and you don't have to do that, and you got it so made in the shade because you can be yourself, everything that they felt like you did to them, it's going to be your fault, because you're dealing with a backwards individual. I'm telling you, these Chinese crested are the worst. So don't sit there another day ruminating about what they did. You know what they did. Don't keep asking yourself, nor the narcissist, why can't you just admit to abusing me? They're not going to do it. They can't. They just simply can't. Spiritually, they can't. And carnally, they can't, and they won't. You'll be sitting there waiting on that forever and a day, and you'll never get it. All right, family. So I wanted to put this out here for you. Y'all take good care of yourselves and do something nice for yourself. All right, family. And I will see you all on the next video. And I will see you all healed at the top. Shalom, family. Peace.